Today we have a special guest. He's one of my good friends. Known him for a couple of years, and I was fortunate to work with him as well. He's a dad. He's a great overall guy. He's someone that even I've definitely have taken notice when it comes to just things that revolve around being a man. He's one of my good friends, Angel Cortez. Welcome, Angel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready.
All right. So this conversation, we don't know where it's going to go, but we definitely have some things that we want to discuss. And so we're going to try to get straight to it. I know earlier we had just talked about, being a guy, what it is to be a man. One of the things that I want to start off with is being dads. So I have two boys. One is 5, the other is 3. I didn't even say this earlier, but I've been kind of wanting a third child. If I were to have a third child, I would shoot, no pun intended, to have a girl.
Yeah.
So I've been told to wear pink socks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the night of, or the day, or the morning. But I kind of feel like
that might work. I've never heard that, but it makes sense.
So the way it goes is if you want a boy, wear boots.
Oh.
If you want a girl,
is that why they call it smoking boots?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
If you want a girl, wear pink socks. Yeah, wear pink socks or pink underwear. I don't have any pink underwear, so I will wear pink socks. So I feel like I would win either way because I would like a girl and I would love to have a daughter. But if I don't and I have a boy, that's 3 boys.
Yeah, it's the same. You've been there. It'd be easy.
Yeah. And then to say that I have 3 boys, I would feel like, man,
yeah,
I'm that much of a man that I can't have a girl. No.
Just flowing out.
Yeah. No. I would actually love to have a girl. But going back to the question, for you, can you talk about your experience of being hashtag girl dad?
Man, I don't know. My daughter has been probably the biggest blessing ever. It's crazy because to me it's hard just because she is a girl, right? So you have to worry about her getting older, boys dating and all that. So that's always been something in the back of my mind, like, dang, I'm gonna have to deal with that later.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to. I just feel like she's always gonna be my little girl when she's not. Like, she'll be 13 next month. So it's like she's getting older. She's she's just getting older. Like, she's like, can I drive your car? Can I take it around the block?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, she's good. Like, she can drive pretty good. She's not bad at all. She's probably better than me already. No. But yeah, it's just I don't want her to grow up and, just deal with that. And, her being young, being a girl, it was, like I've talked to you about this before, discipline.
Yeah.
Disciplining, to me, my daughter, it was like I could never really spank her. I think I spanked her one time. And then I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it felt. I just didn't like, she was a baby. She was, I don't know, it's probably like 2 or 3. And I just didn't like it. I was like, I can't spank her. And even to this day, it's like, it's still kind of hard to discipline her because I just, she's a girl and the feelings, they just have more feelings than a little, I guess, a little boy would. But I don't know, at least that's just the biggest challenge for me is just worrying about if I say something, how does she feel about that?
Yeah.
That's always in the back of my mind. Like, how did I make her feel?
Yeah.
When, I don't know, I just feel like a boy it would be like when I have a nephew and I can spank him, throw him around and, it'd be, to me, it's just hard because the feelings part of it.
Yeah. Talking about having a boy, here's one that just opened the door.
So what are y'all doing?
If I show him, I'll probably get in trouble because of his hair. So go out there. Go out there with Boston. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, close the door then. Come here. Close the door. All right. Well, I'll just have him right here. Okay, so talking about discipline, we could talk a little bit about that. Yeah. So with me having boys, I think it's easy to discipline them.
Right. Is that something from like, because you saw it from your dad?
That's how I was taught.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised was to discipline, and it was almost like if I did anything wrong, if I back talk, if I said anything, it was you're getting a spanking.
Right.
And then I can honestly say that I was more scared of coming home, especially like if I got in trouble, like if I got D-Haul or anything, I was more scared about what my dad would do than the teacher, or than the principal.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah,
so
for sure.
I mean, I always had that. And I would say like it's a healthy fear because my dad never like
That's what I wanted to say too.
beat me. He never like was a type to like, it was actually like super like calm. And my dad had this weird way of, not a weird way, I would say it was a very strategic, a very like well-mannered way of disciplining me. What he would do is he would let me know I'm going to get 3 spankings, 3 or 5, depending on how bad it was. And he would tell me to go to the room. I would go to the room. He would come back and he would read me a scripture about why it's important for a man to be disciplined young, so that when he's older he doesn't embarrass his father. Right. And that was something that always stuck out to me.
That's good.
And I think there's a verse, I would have to look it up, but it talks about pretty much about that, how a man needs to be disciplined young so that when he grows up, he does not embarrass his father and mother. I believe is how it goes.
See, that's good.
And then he would leave the room, and then he would come back with the belt, and it was usually 3 or 5.
Yeah.
And
do you remember how you felt when he left the room and coming back?
I would be trying to put on another pair of jeans or 2 pairs of underwears underneath.
Some more support.
Yeah. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
I always knew like there was these certain jeans that if I wore, I was going to feel the sting. But so he would come back and he was always very calm. For the most part, he was always very calm. And that's something that I've tried to do, and that's something that I've always realized that I can always get better at is when I'm disciplining them, doing it out of love. Because there was times where right when he was done disciplining me or giving me a spanking, he would let me know like, hey, I love you. Right. Like, and I'm doing this, and he would like tell me the why. And so that's something I've tried to do. And again, like, I'm not trying to say I'm just this father that when I discipline, then I'm praying and I'm reading the Bible. Like, no, there's been times where like I have to apologize to my boys and be like, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Because I did it completely out of anger, which I've always felt like if you're going to discipline, it's better to discipline out of love and out of like of a calm mindset.
And let them know what they did wrong instead of just being, just coming from anger and them not knowing why. Yeah. Explain. And I want to touch about what you said about a healthy fear of, and I like that because I feel the same way too. Like I feel like your kids should have a fear of their parents. Yeah. But not like you said, I'm scared to death. I'm scared of them. Yeah. No, it should be a healthy fear. Like if they mess up, they know that we, as parents, we will be upset. And it's the same thing. Like, I don't know if you ever heard the fear, when you fear God is when the knowledge begins. Or something like that. So it's the same thing. Like, it's not that we're scared of God. It's you'll understand and okay, so how do I say this? So when the fear of God is when the knowledge begins. Yeah. That's the right saying, I think.
The Bible, I do try to do Bible readings every single day. I think it was actually earlier this week that was the scripture of the day. Oh, okay. That verse.
So it's like when you fear God, it's like it's a healthy fear. It's like I'm not terrified of God. I'm not scared that there's not that fear. It's just the fear of like, he can send me to hell or whatever. Like, you try to please God. That's what it is. I guess you're trying to, for a kid to have fear, it's to please their parents, not to be terrified of their parents.
Yeah. That verse.
That makes sense.
That does. I'm glad you brought that up. The verse is Proverbs 1:7. Oh, okay. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. This is the one that my dad would read to me. Proverbs 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. And then another one is, and this one's been huge for me, is train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. So I think for a guy, that's pretty easy because boys are naturally rough around each other and with each other. From a girl or having a daughter, how have you gone about that? She probably might not like to hear this, but
I don't know. It's kind of different because she is an only child, so she
Yeah.
hasn't had. I'm sure if I say I did have another girl, I'm sure they would fight and pull hair and all that.
I have two sisters-in-law, and
Yeah, like that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. But I mean, she's the only child, so it was. I don't want to say it was hard raising her because she was just the one. So, but as far as discipline wise, you know, I would just raise my voice and just tears. Like as soon as I raised my voice or had that tone, she knew.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was enough. I did that instead of spanking her. Like instead of actual discipline, you know, I would get onto her in that tone.
Yeah.
And then she knew. And still to this day, like I would just have that look or that tone. She's like, oh, okay, he's serious. Like,
yeah.
Because I was 18 when she was born.
You were 18 when she was
18,
born?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was always kind of like, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, as a young dad, you know, you just kind of, you don't have it figured out. Like I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. To this day, I don't know what I'm doing. So there's one tip for young dads: if you don't have to have it all figured out right now, just go with it. Just where was I going with this? Yeah, so I was young. She was one. My whole senior year, she went to all my basketball games, my football games. She was there, like she was in the stands. You know, it was crazy because, you know, there's a group of my friends over there, and you know, I have a daughter. You know, it's just weird. You know,
it's your senior year, right?
You know, and she had a little Cortez jersey on. You know, it was cool.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, I had no idea what I was doing until this day. Like, and I feel like me and her. I don't want to say we're more friends than anything, because I'm still her dad and she still respects me that way.
Yeah.
But there's a friendship between us because we grew up together.
Yeah.
We grew up, like she was 1, I was 18. She's, you know, she was 10, I was 27, turning 28. Like, I mean, we literally grew up together, and you know, we would go places and they're like, everyone thinks, is that your little sister? Is that your little sister? I'm like, no, I'm her dad. And they're like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Even to this day, I took her to lunch the other day at school. And they're like, no, I went to go check her out at school. She had to go somewhere. I think she was going to Austin or something. And they're like, only her mom or dad can check her out. And I was like, I'm her dad. And the lady, she's like, oh, I thought you were her brother or something. I was like, no, I'm her dad.
Man.
And that was the other day. That was 2 weeks ago probably. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's a little different for me. Is like I said, because we grew up together. So there's always been that friendship. And then whenever I have to I don't want to say turn on being her dad because I'm always her dad, but whenever I have to get serious, she knows when I'm serious.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like we're just hanging out. We're just, you know, we're laughing. She makes jokes. She makes fun of me. I make fun of her. She always says, I'm talking, and she's always saying like, what? Like she didn't hear me. And then I start talking. She says ever. So she's like, what? Ever? I'm like, oh my God. Every time. She gets me every single time.
Yeah. I'm 33 and I still do that.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. There's always that playing around between me and her, and we're never serious until she knows I'm serious, and then she's like, oh, okay. Like there's always that switch I don't know,
turn on
and off.
What is and this may be something that you want to get into, maybe not, but like I've always thought that with you being such a great dad and male figure in her life, that you're showing her that, hey, this is the standard,
right?
So whenever you're 35 years old and you finally want to get married or something, the standard is up here.
Right.
So she's not going to settle for
something less than
some bum or some guy who doesn't know how to treat her right. For me, it's easy to talk about it. My wife hates for me to talk about the boys finally getting married.
Right.
When we do weddings and there's a mother and son dance, like she hates it because eventually that's going to be her.
Right.
But
see, and it's weird because I feel like boys and their dads, like it's just like, yeah, son, like you go on a date with her, like go ask her out, go do that.
Yeah.
And with the daughter, I'm like, you're not going on dates, you're not gonna have there's no boys, don't talk to no boys, you know. And then with like a dad, I guess it's a dad and a son is like, yeah, go do that, like go ask her out, go take her on a date, like it's encouraged. And on the girl side, it's like no.
One piece of advice that my dad gave me that I'm gonna share to my son, but I'm gonna be a little bit more specific, and I've shared this with several people. Is that when I was like, I think I was like 6th grade or 7th grade, where I started noticing that everyone was having boyfriends
Right.
and girlfriends, and I wanted to have a girlfriend. It was kind of more like everyone else is doing it. I remember my dad said, like, have friends. You can have friends. Well, I ran with that, and I thought it meant
Have
like
girlfriends.
have several.
Yeah.
And one piece of advice that I want to share with my son is, you know, have friends.
Right.
But if there is a specific girl that you want to talk to, make sure that it's only her, and that you're not playing around or you're not leading several girls on. Which I think that would be hard to communicate to a 6th grader, 7th grader. But more so maybe and that's something that me and my wife have never talked about, which is at what age should you let your kids?
Right. And I feel like, see, my daughter's in 7th grade, so it's like they're starting to, you know, some of her friends, they say, oh yeah, their parents let her have a boyfriend or whatever. So she's getting to that age, and like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's why I go to the gym, just so when the little boy, I have to beat him up, I'll beat him up.
There you go.
Like, I'm not, if I have to, I have to. I mean,
yeah.
just playing. But
for real.
Yeah, but for real.
But yeah, so I mean, I would also say too, like, just from being a dad, is that, like, and I know I mentioned this, I think the other day, is like, they're gonna do what we do, and I've definitely seen that within my son. Is like, I'm of course his dad and the role model for him, and a lot of time he's mimicking me, but I feel like I have an advantage to an extent, because there's so many times where I'm looking at him and I can tell he has my tendencies,
Right.
or I'm looking at him and I can tell, like, man, like, more than likely he's going to be really, really good at this, and more than likely, just like me, he's going to struggle with this.
Right.
And so me having the experience and having gone through that, and even with certain things still going through that, I feel like I have an advantage to teach him what has taken me 30 something years to learn. Can you talk a little bit about what you feel like you'll be able to teach, or how you'll be able to help your daughter go through that whole situation?
Well, I always tell her sometimes it takes 21 years to be 21.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's wanting to drive, which, like I said, I let her sometimes. She's good. But I always tell her, you know, it takes 21. She doesn't get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if I keep saying it, I hope, like, later she'll understand what I'm saying. Like, just don't rush it. Like, I not tell her, just be a kid. Like, just be a kid. Don't worry about nothing else. Have fun. Just be a kid, you know. And kids, like parents, we always get on our kids, right? But kids are born and have no idea about anything.
Yeah.
They try to push the boundaries. They try to see how far they can push it.
Yeah.
And as parents, you know, like you said, we have to set the boundaries right there, and we set the example of what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
So
good.
So when they're born, they're gonna do whatever they want. That they don't know nothing. So I just want to be, like you said, the standard for her. So when she wants to start dating, be like, well, did my dad do that? Did my dad do this? So she's dating somebody, and, well, my dad never did that. Like, is that okay? Like, I just want to show her what it is. And I'm not perfect by no means. Like, there's days I mess up, and there's days that I'm not. I mean, I'm human, you know what I mean? We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all make the wrong decisions. But I'm trying my best to set the standard for her. But just for her to just be patient. Just try not to grow up too fast. Just be a kid. She's going to be 13. Just enjoy it. Just have fun with your friends. Go volleyball games. I don't know, volleyball games, talking about that. Like, she's been wanting to go to volleyball games with her and her friends. Yeah. And I let her, but it's like, I'm just scared to let her go by herself. Like, especially being in Lubbock, you know? Yeah. Like, if it was small town, whatever, yeah, just go. No big deal. But I let her, because I've always thought, like, I don't want to be, they call it, I've heard it being called like a helicopter parent. Like, you just hover over them all the time. Yeah. And the only way I feel like kids will learn is they have to make a mistake. Yeah. Same with us adults. Like, if you make a mistake, then you'll know that was wrong or that was right. You know, that's the only way. That's the only way. The only way your kids are going to know is they have to learn by messing up. Yeah. And then they'll know not to do that again. So I just feel like I just got to let her do things on her own to a limit. Like, I'm not just saying let her do whatever. But
Yeah.
she's gonna make her own decisions, especially being older. She's gonna make her own decisions. She's gonna mess up. I just want her to learn instead of me hovering over her saying that's wrong. Don't do that. Don't touch that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I mean? So
that's I like that. I even heard because I think that even transitions into with adults.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people that they're scared of failure or they're scared to make a mistake, and then that prevents them from trying something that they've never done before, whether that's a new business, whether that's a new career or new job, or going back to school or starting school, or doing something that can get them some type of license that will help them in a job. I think there's a lot of people that never do that because they're scared to fail.
Fear of failure.
Yeah, I heard Mike Tyson say, "You have to become friends with your with your fears."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I literally would try to do stuff that would put fear in my heart, and I tried to do as much as I could possible to surround myself around those fears." And he's like, and I started noticing, I started becoming friends with my fears. And then once you do that, I feel like that's when you can really like become who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But
and the same thing like with saying, God, I just lost it. I had it. Oh, when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is whenever you're starting to grow.
Yeah.
It's because you're branching out, trying new things.
Yeah.
So I feel like lately, like you said, the fear of failure. Lately, I've been trying to, think of something else where I want to take my life. And like you said, it's the fear of failure. Like, what if I step out and I fail?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even with adults, like you said, it's even with us. So it's like, I want to try something else. I don't know. I just feel like there's more to me than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But what's holding me back is failure.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to set the example for my daughter, I can't have that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just doing it. It's just doing it. It's just going with it. And it's just, trusting God that he's going to be right there. And I do. And 100%. If I do anything, I know 100% just trusting God, and it's going to work out. You know what I mean? But just setting the example like that way. Yeah. And I've been talking to her about it. Like, what should I do? Should I do this? And I talked to my daughter, like, can I do this or should I do this? What do you think's better for me? And then she's like, I asked her a career change, right? And I was like, should I pick this job or this job? And she's like, well, whichever one, you can pick me up at 4. She's like, I don't want to ride the bus. Yeah. So you can do whatever. As long as you're there at 4 to pick me up from school, she's good with it. Yeah. And I was just like, really? She's like, yeah. So you just do whatever you want. She's like, as long as you're there at 4 o'clock to pick me up. Yeah. I was like, all right.
Even with this podcast, I've never even really talked about this, but with this podcast, I was hesitant to do it. I think even when we were working with each other, I was mentioning that I wanted to do a podcast. Yeah. And I was like, I just don't know what I want to talk about, but like, I want to do a podcast. And then even with this, I feel like whether it flops or whether it's successful, there's always something that I could learn from this. So whether it becomes a hit or whether it becomes a complete flop, there's always something that you can learn even from a failure. So if you win, great. Yeah. If you fail, and if you fail miserably,
but you're still not losing though.
Yeah.
Because you're learning from it. So there's really no failure. There's the only time you fail is when you quit.
Yeah.
So
I actually heard someone say this. I think they listened to the podcast too. She came into the gym and she was like, man, I just feel like a failure. I was at work and I had a horrible day at work. I didn't do so good. I went home and I tried to do some stuff around the house and I didn't do so good. And then I think even with her parenting, she was saying like, I didn't do so good with that. And she's like, I just feel like a failure today. And I heard someone say like, no, you're only a failure if you don't continue trying. Right. And so even when you do have a horrible day or a horrible week, you're human. You're not going to get it right every time. But when doubt or when failure does start to creep in and you let it completely take control of you and you decide to quit, now you failed. Yeah. But yeah.
And you going about saying like, I had a horrible day. I don't know. When some people say I have a horrible day, I always tell myself, and it helps me get through like a bad day. Don't let 1 hour affect the other 23.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad hour, bad 2 hours, you still got 22 hours or, there's 24 hours in a day. So don't let one bad hour affect your whole day.
That's good.
So
I think we're transitioning into the next subject that I kind of wanted to cover, which was guys talking about things that bother them.
We don't.
Yeah. And that's true.
Yeah.
Like, I think with men, especially men, we don't really go to other people or even other guys And of course, you know, if you have a wife or if you have a girlfriend, I mean, you should be able to go to her. But I think it's also very healthy to either one, go to a counselor and talk to someone, or two, be able to talk to someone else. And I'll even say this, and I feel like this is something I've wanted to mention in the other episodes. You got to be careful who you go to.
Yeah.
Because
I'll turn around and just say it to somebody else.
There's a lot of, like, if there's a person that's struggling with alcohol and they go to another alcoholic,
right?
They're not, I mean, you could, but it would just be wiser to go to someone who's actually either has completely beaten alcoholism, or someone who, you know, they have somewhat experience or they help someone, go to that person. But if you're going to another person who deals with that, and that goes for anything, that goes if dating or marriage, if you're going to another person who's a cheater and you're asking them for advice, or you're going to someone who has a horrible history with relationships, then that's probably not the wisest thing to do. And that goes for drugs, relationships, alcoholism, addictions in general. But I really do feel like guys in general, we don't really talk about things that we're dealing with internally. Can you talk a little bit about why you think it's important for us as men to be able to talk about these things?
And it's just, you know, getting it off your chest, you know, having that sigh of relief, like, it's off my chest. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just being able, like, and I've always felt like you've been someone I can talk to. Like, you've been someone, you know, this is going on in my life. This is going on in my life. And I don't really talk to a whole lot of people. And it's the way we don't talk to people is because that's the way we were raised. You know, you know, my dad was just like, you know, get over it, quit crying. You know, just get over it, and it's fine. You know, that's the way it's been for years and years and years and years. But, like, you know, you get older, you just hold it in, and then you just have a blow up. Yeah, and that's what you don't want. Like, if there's somebody guys can talk to, then it may eliminate that explosion one day. It's just where they just give up and just explode on everybody and just, you know, say things they don't mean and that's the thing. Like, when some people get mad, they'll say whatever. Yeah. And they'll rip you apart and not even remember what they said. Yeah. You know, and that's, I think if guys had somebody to talk to like that, you know, like you said, like a counselor, you can eliminate that. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. It's just, I feel like it would help me, you know, like, I told you, you know, you're someone I can talk to, and, you know, that does help me because you come to me with, you know, good advice, and, you know, I take that and I try to use it. So I feel like we can help each other out that way. Yeah. You know, we don't have to keep it in and just try to figure it out on our own. And for a long time, I still do that sometimes. For a long time, I was like, I don't need to talk to nobody. I always felt like nobody cares what's going on because everybody has not in a bad way. Everybody has their own life. Yeah. Everybody has their own problems. I'm not gonna try to push my problems onto you. Yeah. And I have another friend that he has 3 boys, and I used to call him all the time, and, you know, and he'd call me, and it's, you know, it's just someone you can talk to, you know what I mean? Just that person. And, you know, he helped me through a lot, and he'd call me and be, you know, he's like, man, he's like, what you said the other day, or, you know, I hit him up on Snapchat. He works out, and I'm like, man, keep going. And he tells me the same thing, man, keep going. Yeah. You know, so there's good. People that, for guys, I think it's becoming more common now. Yeah. And it's not taking anything away from you being a man. Yeah. Like some guys think, well, if I talk to somebody, it's not manly. Yeah. Or it's not like I was raised where keep it in, bottle it up. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you're less of a man because you talk to somebody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I like what you're saying, because like how we were discussing earlier is like that's why the suicide rate amongst men is so much higher than what it is amongst women. And I think actually the stat is women think of it just as much as men, but as far as actually going through with it, it's men that would actually do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why the suicide rate is high, and even why like guys just have those the bad addictions that a lot of men deal with, especially when alcohol is the only thing that guys feel like they can go to. And I feel like there's a lot of guys that instead of going to that, they can not necessarily like go and just have alcohol as the number one source, but they can also know that there's, you know, you can talk about it, you can get it off. And like how you were saying, a lot of us guys, ever since we're little boys, we're taught don't cry.
And so
be a
then
man,
that
be a big boy. That's what they tell you, you know.
And then that 5-year-old little boy that you're telling that to now is 25, 30, and they're still that's it's almost like subconsciously they know just to hold it in, hold it in, hold it in. And I strongly believe this is that it doesn't matter if you're the biggest, most masculine, strongest, most built guy. Everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, no matter if you're Angel Cortez,
thank you.
Everyone goes through something.
Yeah.
I always remember this. I had to be like in 8th grade or 7th grade, and I remember my older brother was either a freshman or sophomore at Wayland, and I remember I was driving with him, and we stopped in front of one of the dorms in front of Wayland, and I remember he got out and he went to the dorm, and there was this big old guy, and I remember he was a redheaded guy. And I remember he was just bawling and he just hugged my brother. And I remember I was thinking, like, of course I'm in 8th grade. I'm like,
why is he crying?
Yeah, what's up with this dude?
Yeah.
And I remember, they just talked for a little bit, and then my brother came back and I was like, why was he crying?
Yeah.
And me just being in 8th grade, just being, naive. I didn't understand it. And he was like, some girl just broke his heart. And I was like, that guy.
Yeah.
But like now, like, and again,
what
like
a wimp.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
There's like everyone has something. So for one guy, it could be girl problems.
Right.
For another guy, it could be, they dealt with stuff when they were younger, and now that's all they know is when I go through this is what I'm going to do. I was actually talking to someone. I hope he doesn't. I think he would be okay with me sharing this. He was talking about how one day his wife mentioned to him, she was like, hey, I think you have abandonment issues. And again, he was like, no, I don't. He's like, no, don't be telling me that.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, like, I think you do. She was like, because you hold people to such a high standard, and when they don't meet it,
that's it.
Like you get really upset with them, and it's not even like nothing much.
Yeah.
And she pretty much said, like, you lost your mom when you were a certain age, when he was young, and your dad was never in the picture. And I think what you do is now you hold people to the standard because you don't want them to leave you the way that your parents left you. And he even said, like, when she told him that, he was like, oh man,
makes sense.
That makes and then like and it was all from childhood trauma that he had never even realized on his own.
And we don't realize that we carry that.
All the way into
adulthood.
Yeah. And so I think that's whether, again, and this dude he's built. He's in shape. He takes care of himself. Eats well. He's still one of my good friends. Did powerlifting together. Very strong guy. And everyone deals with that.
Right.
But yeah, anything else you want to touch on as far as like mental health, or what guys you feel like sometimes guys don't really touch or talk about?
I did have something while you were talking. I lost it though. That's just having that person, or maybe two, or maybe a couple. And I feel like it's easier for girls to go talk, because then I feel like that's what guys see when they feel like I said earlier, I feel they feel it makes you less of a man to go talk to somebody, because that's what girls do. That's what people would say. Well, you're just acting like a girl, or like women, because they can go talk about it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make you less of a person, less of a man, just to, have some good buddies that will sit there, go sit down, have a beer, talk to your buddy, what's going on. And they always say, check on your friends.
Yep.
Check on your friends that, I don't know, just check on them. You don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't, and I could be better. Calling my buddies and be like, hey, you good? And sometimes I'll text some of my buddies about, hey, you all right? And they're like, yeah, I'm good. Could be better. Just keep your head up.
Yeah.
Just that little
Checking
text.
in.
So just checking in. Just little things, just a little thing. We don't have to go all into it. Like, just, you all right? Yeah, I'm good. You sure? Good.
Yeah.
Just to have that somebody.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't make you less of a person.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's where we get confused as men. Like, we think it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Something that I feel like me and you do both, that kind of helps us, whether it's just stress reliever or just for our own purpose or whatever reason why we work out. That's something that has always been like my kind of like therapeutic way to just to release some release some stress. Can you talk about the reason why, like, gym is your go-to?
Same, just stress. We do, as men, I feel like we hide a lot of stuff that we're dealing with, I guess. I mean, we all have, I don't know, as a man, I feel like there's your finances, there's your kids, there's food, there's your home, there's cars. And like women, you're a provider, right? You're supposed to provide all that for your wife, girlfriend, whatever. So I feel like we deal with a lot of that stress that we hold on to more than a woman would.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, I got this car. But we're the ones worried about
how we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, how we're going to keep that car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
or keep that house. Or keep food on the table. So I feel like we deal with more of that. So it's just a lot of stress. And like you said, the gym it's a real stress reliever. You know, you just you push yourself. And I feel like with the gym is how hard you push yourself. How hard you push yourself in the gym can come out like outside the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can do this in the gym. And my friends told me one time, like, we're at work and he's like, well, if you'd work as hard as you work out, maybe this will be better. And he was just playing around and stuff, but that makes sense. Like if you push yourself, true. Like if I work, like we work hard in the gym, but you come out of work and you work just as hard on your job or your side hustle or whatever. Yeah. Like you can move it from the gym to outside of the gym. Yeah. And you can push yourself outside of the gym to be that provider. So I just feel like the gym, it is a stress reliever, but it also it tells you what you're made of too as a man. You know, and not saying women should, like, I don't know how to say that.
That women.
Yeah, I'm not putting the women that just what you're made of as a man when working out.
Yeah, and then there are some girls that do work out, and that's like their therapeutic or their way of relieving stress. Mm-hmm. And I think with us both coming from a sports background, because I know you played football, basketball, baseball. You do
a little bit of baseball.
You do a little bit of baseball.
I did track all the way till I was a senior. I said nope, more track.
What'd you run?
I don't know why I was in the 100. I was so slow. I don't even question the coach. I'm like, why am I here? I played quarterback first of all, so no speed already. That's not a So I was in the 100, the 200, and I have no idea why. Like as soon as they hit the gun, I was last. Like as soon as I stood up, there were like 50 yards already, and I was still 10 yards in it.
But you were quick as a quarterback.
I was quick. I don't want to say I was slow. Yeah. I wasn't slow, but I didn't have 100-meter dash speed. Yeah. Like that's
different.
Yeah.
And then basketball, what position did you play?
They call it the 2, shooting guard. Okay. Sometimes point guard, but
you were a shooter?
Yeah. I think I was more of a shooter.
Not me. I suck. Yeah. My form is off.
That was a long time ago. I couldn't do it now. There's no way. Yeah. Those were the glory days.
Man. And then just as far as going back to the working out, I've always felt like what you were saying, that if you would work out as hard as you do in the gym and apply it to real life, right. I've always felt that's true. I remember I was at Wayland. It was fall of 2013, and I would have to wake up like at 5:50, 5:55. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I should have been waking up like at 5:30 because I had to be to the weight room by 6, and I would speed. I would wake up like 5:50, brush my teeth, wash my face.
Just enough time.
Just enough time. Like I would get there 5:58, 5:59. If sometimes like sneak in while they were warming up. But I remember waking up at 5:50 thinking like, man, here in 10 minutes, I'm going to have anywhere from 200 to 300 pounds on my back. And I'm going to be doing some squats, sets of 8 to 12. And then on bench, I'm going to be doing this. And I'm going to be doing all that. Or depending on what day, I'm going to be doing some sprints. Right. And I'm going to be doing some like suicides, or I'm going to be doing some cone drills. And I would be thinking that, and I would be thinking like, man, I can't even get out of the bed right now. Right. How am I going to be doing that here in 10, 15 minutes? And I always thought like one day when I don't have to exert so much energy physically, it's going to be so much more easier. But now there's days where it's 7 something, and I know that, man, here in about 45 minutes, I'm at work, I'm going to have to be doing this and this and this, and it's all mentally. And it's almost just as daunting, but it's different
it's not so much now I'm having to squat or bench.
Right.
Now it's I'm gonna have to be at work. I'm gonna have to be thinking. I'm gonna have to be doing this. And I got
Right.
this deadline, and I got this meeting at this time. But the same mindset of still giving it my 100%,
Right.
still mentally applying myself the way that I was when I was doing it physically. It's the same concept. It's even going back to what we're talking about, discipline,
Right.
and applying the same hard work ethic that you have in the weight room or in the gym, and applying it to a career, or applying it to a goal, or even applying it to a relationship.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's kind of like, this is the number one thing that I feel like for me that working out has taught me. To me, working out teaches you how to push past how you feel.
Right.
Because the whole purpose.
There's days you don't want to go.
Yeah.
There's days you don't want to work. There's days you don't want to go to the gym.
There's even days where you're on your second set out of 4, and you know that, man, I still have 2 more sets, or I still have 2 more rounds to go, and I don't even feel like finishing the second set.
Yeah.
And it's pushing past what your brain is telling you, and mentally forcing yourself, like, no, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I like there's a video of Kobe Bryant saying that you don't negotiate with yourself. It's an unnegotiable action.
Right.
I'm not going to justify why I shouldn't do this. I'm going to wake up.
Yeah.
It's not the alarm waking me up. I'm going to wake up. It's not like I got to go to the gym today.
Yeah.
It's, man, I'm going to go to the gym today, and I get to work out. So it's having those unnegotiables with yourself. But that's what I think it teaches is that to push past how you feel. And I feel like the people that are very undisciplined and the people that never really want to try new things are people that would rather listen to their emotions rather than their emotions listening to what you're telling. Like, no, we're going to do this. I'm going to wake up right at this time.
I feel like that's one of the biggest things. I'm sure with everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's days, like I said, you don't want to work out. You don't want to go to work. It's just, like you said, it's being disciplined, and it's consistency. You know, you go to the gym. Why go to the gym if you're not gonna push yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that goes to your job. Why are you gonna go to your job and not do your best?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why? It's just being consistent on what you're doing. Like if you go to the gym and you kill it, then take that outside the gym and go kill it outside the gym. Yeah. Whatever you're doing, your job, side hustle, whatever you got to do, being dad, being husband, just go kill it. You know?
Being a relationship.
Yeah, relationship. It's just, and it's hard though. It's hard. Like I'm not saying I do it every day. I'm not saying that I'm perfect every single day and I apply it every single day. I don't. It's just, if you think like that, I feel like it'll get easier if you actually try to do that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't listen to your emotions and be like, hey, this is how it's going to be. If you have that mindset, being consistent, being disciplined in or outside the gym, then you'll start seeing a difference in your life and inside the gym. And
that even applies to a relationship, because there's times where you're in a relationship where if you go based off your feelings, you could either do something that could mess up the relationship, or that you could do something that will hurt the other person because you said something.
Because you
listen to your feelings.
You're angry. You don't. I feel like when you're angry or you're upset, you say things that you don't really mean, or you say things that you wish you could take back, or you do something you wish you could take back, and it's hard. Like it's hard not to listen to your emotions in an argument, or it's just, I don't know. I like what your brother said on your last show. Remember to be you're a Christian first. Yeah. And like ever since he said that, last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Like I think about that all the time now. I was like, you're a Christian first before you act on that situation. Remember who you are first. You're a Christian first. So how would a Christian act? Yeah. And it's hard. Like that's one of the hardest things to do probably as humans, is not listen to your emotions and your feelings. Like they say, be a godly man and stuff like that. It's a hard thing to do. You know, especially if someone makes you mad. And I try to put that with being a dad as well. Like I want my daughter to see, like I said, I'm not perfect at all. I'm not saying I am. I'm not trying to get it twisted where I'm perfect every single day. There's tons of mistakes I make. Yeah. Anyways, I just want her to see, how do I say this? I want her to see the godly man in me. Yeah. And I'm still trying. Like every day, I'm still trying. There's always something you can do every day. Every day's a new day. You mess up one day, the sun comes up. There's always a new day where you can change the direction, I guess, of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's good.
So I don't know. I think about that all the time since your brother said that is you're Christian first. And now I'm trying to apply that in situations.
Yeah.
And that's in everything. That's being a dad. That's job. That's arguments, relationships.
Yeah.
Being a son. I wish I was a way better son. Like there's times I think about, man, I'm calling mom, call my dad, and then I don't. But I need to. I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I'm just trying to apply that. You be a Christian first. Just be in every situation of your life. I mean, ever since he said that, it's just, that stuck with me, and I think it'll always stick with me now. Yeah. But that's good. That's good stuff.
Even in your job, being a Christian first, there was a guy who was telling me, like, I charged this lady this, and honestly, you know, based off of what she paid me, I did this type of work. Mm-hmm. And so pretty much he was saying is I did not my absolute best, but the only reason why I didn't do my absolute best is because she paid me this much. And I told him there's a verse that pretty much says that when you work, don't do it for your boss, do it as if you were working for God. And then again, it goes to like what you're saying, like when you apply that to every aspect of your life in any scenario, it almost challenges you to be better than the minimal. Right. So I think, and
I don't want to be the minimal, just because, like you said, like your kids watch you and they're gonna replicate the things you do and what they see. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, that's why you see little kids doing the same thing adults are doing now, because that's just what they see at home. They see that at home, and I want my daughter to see me as like, man, my dad killed it. Like, he was just awesome. Like, he was just, no matter what, was always calm, always nice to people. And I try to be nice to people for the most part. Yeah. I mean, it's hard sometimes, but you know, just being a kind. I always tell her, like, she goes to school. She has to go to track sometimes in the morning at 7. And I'll text her. I'll say, hey, do your best, be kind, be nice, be brave, go get it or go kill it. You know, and I just send her little messages like that because I want her to remember that. And she saves them on her Snapchat. You know, you can save. She saves them because I just want her to see that, and just like randomly saying, you know, we haven't talked all day, and I love you. Yeah. She'll save it. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. You know, just be a good person. Just be a good dad. Just be a good person, just in general. So
yeah. And like I've said, like I've told you this, I think before. I think it was when you were leaving the job that you were at when we worked together, was like you've always been someone that, as far as just being a dad, like the standard that you set for your daughter, I feel like, I mean, it's not just a standard that's going to be high for her, but even for other dads, girl dads, even for other dads that are out there that are young in their, you know, whether it's 18, 19 or younger 20s, you know, I feel like you would be the standard for them, just with how much you, like, I've even told you there's things that you've done. I don't know how you did that. I don't even have like, and I feel like I'm a pretty calm person. I feel like I wouldn't even have the mental fortitude or the ability to like calm myself down in those situations, and yet you've been able to just be that. So I mean, I would commend you on that, because I've seen that from the outer.
I don't know. It's just with me. I've always told myself I don't have room to hate somebody. Yeah. I don't have room to dislike somebody. Like, I have too much. I don't even have that much going on. I don't think, just work and work out. But like, you're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? Yeah. So I'm not gonna hold a grudge. I'm not gonna hate somebody. I'm not gonna dislike somebody. Like, if you do me wrong, it don't even faze me. Yeah. Like, okay, you know, okay. Like, I don't have no hate for you at all. Yeah. Nobody. Like, you could do me wrong. I don't know how to word that, but it's just like, there's no room to hate somebody. Yeah. To me, like, if somebody says I hate somebody, like, to me, I don't like that. Yeah. Like, why? Like, there's no reason to hate somebody. And that goes back to being like a godly man. Like, yeah. And, you know, the Bible says, you know, live like Jesus did. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole point. Yeah. Of, you know, being a Christian and stuff like that, is like, spread the word of Jesus and all that, right? So how are you going to say you're a Christian and say you hate somebody? Yeah. Like, that doesn't make sense. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I could be wrong. Somebody could think of it something else, but if you're going to be a Christian first, then there's no room for that. Yeah. There's none. Like, Jesus's disciples were sinners. They were robbers. They were, you know what I mean? He chose those people for a reason.
Yeah.
They weren't the perfect people. So for him to love people like his disciples, and we're supposed to live like Jesus, then that's what we should do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking about it just the other day because I was thinking like, because the Bible says that pretty much Jesus was tempted in every way,
Right.
and that he pretty much went through everything that we could ever go through.
Right.
And I've always been like, I like to play the devil's advocate. Sometimes I'll be like, but did he really? But then I was thinking like, to me, I was like, he did. Because even with stress, there's a lot of people that will say like, man, I'm just stressed and that's why I did what I did. Or that's just the way I am. Or I was stressed and that's why I do this when I'm stressed. And then I'm thinking like, I heard this earlier this week, how God dealt with pretty much anxiety. God dealt with stress. It says that when he was about to get crucified on the cross, he literally started sweating out blood. And there's an actual scientific term that talks about how that it's real, that there's when you're under so much stress and under that much amount of pressure, that it is known for people to start I think sweating out blood. And I'm thinking like, man, like so no one can say that, oh well, God didn't deal with stress or he's God, so no, like when he was about to get crucified, he was literally he stayed up all night. There's people that they can't sleep when they're dealing with anxiety or stress. And I'm thinking, God dealt with that too. And even like, well, God's never had anyone, doing wrong. Yeah, he did.
Everybody.
He had, even to this day, he calls us sons and daughters, and imagine like our children never even paying attention to us. And I feel like that's God sometimes does that with that in us when we don't acknowledge him, or like, so pretty much anything that we have ever gone through or could ever go through, God's already been through there. Yeah, he's already gone through it. And not only that, he's already conquered that. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we try to wrap it up?
As far as
anything?
Not really. I mean, not off the top of my head. Like I said, for any young dads out there, I want to say this again. You don't have to have it figured out right now, especially being 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I mean, that's still 23, 24. That's still young.
Yeah,
that's still a young dad. You just don't, and it's stressful because I thought the same thing. It's like, dang, I'm 18. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. How am I gonna raise a daughter?
Yeah,
because
you're never ready.
Yeah,
you're never fully
ready. You're
ready.
never. Even if you say, okay, let's to your wife or whatever, say, okay, let's have a kid. Let's have a son or a daughter. You're still not ready.
Yeah.
Even if you buy everything, you have everything in the world ready for that child, you're not ready.
Yeah.
So as far as being a young dad, just you don't have to have it figured out.
Yeah.
Just take it day by day, one day at a time. You'll grow as a dad, and it'll be all right. It'll work itself out.
Yeah.
There's not.
That's good.
And like I said, I did the same thing being 18. I just stressful. I was just like, dang, I don't have nothing. I was in high school.
Yeah.
I barely got my first car, and it was, I think it was handed down. It was a Camaro. No, I was driving. My brother had bought a Camaro, and I had just got it because he had bought a truck or something. And then, I barely had got my first car when I was a junior, and then the next year I'm having a baby.
God.
You know what I mean? So, and I don't even think I had I already had a cell phone, but like I didn't get a cell phone until I was a junior. I didn't get a car or a cell phone until I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
Next year I'm having a baby. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I didn't have anything. So it's just, you don't have to have it figured out.
Yeah.
And you'll never have it figured out. Like I said, to this day, sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's days where.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's just part of being a parent, I guess. It's just, there's stuff I tell my daughter, and I don't know. I think about it all the time. Like, did I do enough today? Did I tell her enough today? Did I say I love you today? So you don't have to have it figured out, And I feel like, I don't know, with having a daughter, it's just, I feel like if I don't do enough, that she's like, she'll look at me different, but she won't. And I feel like a lot of parents do that. Like, dang, I didn't do, like, my kids hate me or whatever. They don't hate you. It's just, that's you doing that to yourself. That's like self-sabotage. You know what I mean? Like, your kid's always going to love you no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Or not, my daughter will, I mean, I can't say that 100% on everybody, but just do your best. That's all. I mean, that's all you can do is just be your best and just rely on God and your faith and just try to be a godly man for your kids.
That's good. That's good.
So, I mean, that's what I try to do. Like I said, I'm not the best. I do make mistakes. I'm not saying I'm perfect by no means. I'm far from it. But every day, as like I said, it's a new day. Sun comes up. You can change the way you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can change. If you don't like something, you're the only one that can change it. You're really in control of your whole life and the whole dynamic of your kid's life too.
Yeah.
Because they're watching you. They watch you. So you may think they're not, but they are. So
yeah,
I always felt that way. So
that's good.
I don't know.
I like that. So I thought I'd wrap up this episode doing rapid questions. I didn't even tell you this.
Let's go.
But it just
Rapid fire.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Favorite sport.
Basketball.
Favorite team.
I'm gonna go with the Lakers. They
Okay.
suck, but
I thought you were about to say someone else. I'll deal with that. What's something most people don't know about you?
I like to sing.
Okay.
I don't ever sing in front of everybody, but I like to sing.
Can you sing?
I'm all right. I feel like
I
I'm
did
okay.
hear you.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Country, right?
Yeah, I love country music.
Yeah. Yeah. Hidden talent?
None.
None?
I can do it all. You know what I mean? No, I'm
There
just
you go. Proudest moment in life?
just the day my daughter was born. It's just, I don't know. It's just when you have I don't know if you can testify to this. When you have a child or your child's born, just the flip of a switch.
Yeah.
It's just your whole life changes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like we've talked about this growing up. We were we were athletes. We did this. It was about me. Like, oh, I don't want to say it like this because it's kind of cliche. Like, you're the big guy on campus. You're the man. But then when I had my daughter, it was just like, that's not me.
Everything changes.
Yeah, it's just your priorities are different. Like, everything I do now is what she needs or what she wants, or
Yeah.
it's her now. You know what I mean? Like that, you're just your whole life changes.
Yeah.
So I could say like that's one of my proudest moments. Is just
The day she was born.
yeah. It just changes you. It's hard to describe to somebody if they don't have kids. Like,
Yeah.
you won't know that feeling until it happens. Like, that's just the feel. That's just
Yeah.
it just happens. It's just,
I always think like, man, what was life like before?
and I don't know. That's
Like-
crazy because like you think you go back and you try to think of what it was before your kids,
Yeah.
and I can't remember anything before my daughter was born. Just
I just think I was selfish.
that's what I'm saying. Like, your selfishness goes away after that.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as your kids are born, it's just
Everything.
it just changes. Your whole life changes.
Yeah. How do you want people to remember you? Last one.
Just a good guy. Just
He was a good guy.
He's just a good guy. Like, I have no hate for nobody. Just smiling. I'd go into the gym when we work together, just change people's lives. I would say that every day, and I'd tell, people that work there, they're having a bad day, and just like change somebody's life. But you got to change yours first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't be in that attitude and try to change somebody else's life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just live every day. And it's hard, and some days I don't do it. Some days it's hard where I'm in a mood or whatever, and for no reason. Just change somebody's life. Just be a good person. Just somebody to talk to. Just be that guy. I want somebody, if somebody's at my funeral, just like, man, he was a good dude.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. Good people.
There you go.
That simple.
I like that. All right. Well, that should wrap it for today. Again, thank you, Angel, for coming out here.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. Should do it again.
Yeah. And again, like, I'm open. Any other topic you would like to discuss. And that's why, like, I wanted to talk to you about this, because I knew you would have some good insight on this topic, especially from the experience and the standard that you've set for yourself and for your daughter. But so yeah, thank you for coming out here.
Thanks. It was fun.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, again, if you like this video, and even if you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs up. You can share it. You make sure to subscribe there if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, make sure to download it and then even share it. But yeah, thank you for tuning in today, and we will see y'all in the future.
See ya.